John Kennedy. Kennedy has joined Brendan Rodgers in conceding the league title to Hearts and leaving Celtic Football Club after a 27-year association. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football, and it is official. Last night there was some rumours that John Kennedy was also leaving with Brendan Rodgers. Now those rumours can be confirmed, and John Kennedy has officially left the club alongside some other coaches that were in Brendan Rodgers' team at Celtic FC. So yeah, John Kennedy, big scalp for Celtic Football Club. He's left Celtic after 27 years being associated with the club. I believe he joined as a youth player, and obviously he's had different roles over the years. He's also had a period as interim manager of the club. Now, obviously that won't be the case because that role is now being taken by none other than Martin O'Neill. So John Kennedy won't be needed to be the interim manager, but he's had a pretty big role at Celtic over the years. He's did a lot at Celtic over the years, and he's now joined Brendan Rodgers on the way out of Glasgow. Maybe him and Rodgers got the same taxi, or maybe they drove the same old broken down Honda Civic as they were trying to get out of the green side of Glasgow. But either way, John Kennedy is gone. He's out, he's left, and yeah, pretty big news. His role as caretaker manager after Neil Lennon left. Let's just have a look at it here. So games played 10, wins 4, draws 4, and 2 defeats. That's a 40% win ratio with 9 plus goal difference. Now this was back on February 24th, 2021 to 15th of May 2021. So he took over the club till the end of the season. And I tell you what, I mean, those stats are probably about the same as what Brendan Rodgers has delivered this season. So who knows? If John Kennedy stayed, I don't think he'd have been any worse of a choice for manager than Brendan Rodgers. But he hasn't stayed. He has left, and yeah, I mean, he had some honours at Celtic. He won the league at Celtic as a player as well. So yeah, John Kennedy, it's a big name that leaves Celtic, and what a season. Brendan Rodgers obviously announced that he was first to go, and now Kennedy joins him. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes now. Is he going to stay with Rodgers? Are they going to be working with each other going forward? Or has John Kennedy just decided that he needs a break? But either way, 27 years after association with the club, John Kennedy is gone. Also, first team coaches Adam Sadler and Jack Lyons have also gone. And so has fitness guru Glenn Driscoll. So yeah, there you go. Lots of people leaving Celtic. A lot of change happening right now at this moment in time. And yeah, Brendan Rodgers, still waiting on him to reply to Dermot Desmond's statement on him last night. And I think Brendan Rodgers has done a pretty good job of turning the Celtic fan base against the board and basically blaming the board for all the problems, blaming the board for all the bad results. But, I mean, at the end of the day, he's the manager. Results lie with him. Performances certainly lie with him. And the performances at Celtic haven't been good now for a long time, even stretching back to last season. Who could forget they lost to St Johnstone? Then they narrowly got a draw in the final game of the season at Celtic Park against St Mirren. They lost that cup final against Aberdeen, one of the worst Scottish cup finals I think we've ever seen. Just two really bad teams on the day, and we had to get a winner on penalties. So yeah, Rodgers can blame the board, but at the end of the day, the board actually did provide money. I mean, even if you look at the season where they spent the 26 million, or I think it was like 27, 28, on Trusty, Engels and Ida, that's a lot of money. That is three big signings in terms of money paid. And at the end of the day, if Rodgers does have a say in all the signings that are brought in, then Rodgers has got to take responsibility, because those three signings weren't good enough. Ida was a waste of money. Engels is certainly not an £11 million player. And Trusty, Brendan Rodgers doesn't trust Trusty. The guy cost £6 million and he decided to go with Dane Murray. So, I mean, Rodgers can sit here and say that he wasn't backed, and he can talk about Ferraris and this. Listen, Celtic have provided enough money for Brendan Rodgers to buy Ferraris, and it's not Celtic's fault that Brendan Rodgers has went to some second-hand car dealer and bought shit cars when he could have good cars. You know, if someone gives you $2 million to spend on a Ferrari and you decide to get scammed and you spend $2 million on a Honda Civic instead, then at the end of the day, it's still £2 million you were given. Even if you don't spend the money wisely, you know, it's still £2 million. If my employer pays me, for example, $5,000 at the end of the month, and I go and I buy an apple for $5,000, a Granny Smith apple, and I eat it, and then I complain. I can't complain and go, well, my employer didn't pay me enough, my employer didn't give me enough wages to live. No, I was a fucking dumbass, and I went and spent $5,000 on an apple. And that's you know, the analogy applies here. I am sick as fuck, by the way. But well, actually, I'm not. I am, but obviously, what's happening in Scottish football is almost cheering me up. You know, it's making me happy. Hearts 8 points clear. Yeah, you can see it doesn't matter when you're sick, man. Cough medicine, Lemsips. It does nothing will make you feel better than this shite that Celtic currently find themselves in. So I think it's great. And I've seen people say that, well, Brendan Rodgers leaving, you guys are laughing, you guys think this is good, you're going to find it, this is going to be bad for all your wee clubs, Celtic are going to come back better and stronger, Rodgers leaving apparently is a nightmare for Hearts. But the same people that are saying this are the same people that are defending Rodgers and saying it's not his fault, it's the players. So it doesn't make any sense. If somebody comes, if this is going to be bad for the rest of Scottish football, because we're going to see Celtic waking up now, we're going to see a new Celtic. If an interim manager comes in, or a new manager comes into the end of the season, if they start getting a tune out of these players, and they start hitting top form, and start getting great results, then that makes Rodgers look like shit, because he was blaming the players. He was saying the players are Honda Civics. So if a new manager comes in, and starts getting these players to play like a Ferrari, then that makes Rodgers look bad. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, apparently, Celtic are going to turn this around. You're going to see the real Celtic now. If we see a massive improvement in Celtic, then what does that say for Rodgers? If we see these players that have been labelled duds, if we see these players that have been labelled not good enough, not up to the Celtic quality, the Celtic standards, if these players all of a sudden start putting in Ferrari-like performances, then we're going to have to look at Brendan Rodgers and we're going to have to say, well, you were the one to blame and not the board. So, and even if a new manager comes in and nothing improves, Rodgers is still going to have to take some of the blame, because he was the man that, you know, he gave the green light for these players to come in. So, yeah, could the board have spent money? Yes, absolutely. But could Brendan Rodgers have spent that money better that the board gave him? 100%. 100%. Anyway, John Kennedy, he's gone. He, like I said, had a lot of roles at Celtic, came in as a player, youth player, then became a senior player, worked as a coach, then later became number 2 to Lennon, Ange Postecoglou, and now Brendan Rodgers, and now he's left the club. As for Gavin Strachan and Stevie Woods, they are expected to stay on and work alongside the new interim duo of Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney. So it is John Kennedy out and Gavin Strachan staying. That's the two big names that are making their futures told today. So yeah, guys, anyway, Celtic odds coming soon. I've seen a lot of movement in the manager odds. Ange Postecoglou was a heavy favourite. He is now no longer the favourite, and I've got to wonder, is there been talks already behind the scenes, because the odds have moved pretty dramatically, but that odds video will be coming later on tonight, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, guys, that's it. Feeling sick as fuck, but it's great. It's great to be 8 points clear. That's the best medicine you could ask for. So yeah, till next time, peace.